the female mix. Now this is my favourite mix, and not because it has anything to do with women or anything to do with females, but women are very, obviously, as we know, very hormonally driven. Once a month, women have amazing biochemical changes, normally anywhere from day 21 or day 18 onwards on their cycle. And it certainly can make women much more prone to feel emotional than men or vulnerable. Now, the other thing that we obviously see everywhere is hysterectomies are the biggest surgery on the planet. Women have their reproductive organs hacked out. You wouldn't see a man having his testicles removed. Fibroids in the uterus, which are like benign tumours or just a fancy word for a growth. Cysts in the ovaries. Cysts are like fluid-filled sacs. You could say they're almost like an internal pimple if you wanted to draw a metaphor. They're not an internal pimple, but it's a fluid-filled sac. Now, depending on the fluid, if it's pus or if it's watery, it gets a different label, or blood, which is usually rarer, but that can happen. Now, the female mix contains herbs that have traditionally been used to strengthen the reproductive organs, strengthen the uterus, strengthen the ovaries. Now, this does a couple of things. One, it can make people a lot more fertile. It's not going to interfere if you're on the pill or you're on the IUD or anything like that. But also, once those areas are strengthened, now your ovaries produce a couple of very important hormones if you're a woman. First of all is progesterone. And obviously second is estrogen. Now estrogen can be cancer causing in high dosages, but we need to be intelligent. But the body is the perfect pharmacy. It produces the perfect amount of substance that it needs. Now excess estrogen is actually filtered out by the liver. So sometimes if there is an excess estrogen problem, we'll treat the liver as well. But ovaries, uterus, fallopian tubes, Bartholin glands, breast prolactin ducts. This is what we traditionally use all these herbs to help assist and try to achieve. Also emotional balance. Now what you need to know is women ideally have their period about every 28 days. Day 1, when you get your cycle, that's when day one, that's your period. Then 28, then day 28, then day 1 again. Now about day 14 is when you ovulate. That's when your sex drive is normally much higher. This is when your immune system shifts. Smells affect you differently. Smell of men can affect you differently. Now, generally when people follow natural type things, natural fertility programs, they avoid having a man ejaculate inside them from day 9 through day 16. Now, obviously, this is presuming their period's fairly regular. There's other things you can do. You can observe your mucus changes. In fact, the best book, if you're looking to get off these destructive pills and IUDs and things like that, is a brilliant book called Natural Fertility. Just that, 2 words, Natural Fertility. One of the best books you'll read on how to support yourself as a woman, how to assist things. But leading up after that, after day 14, when you ovulate, days 9 through 16, a man usually doesn't ejaculate inside you if it's natural fertility. Anywhere from day 18, day 21, day 24, that's when a woman's hormones can plummet. And that's what we call premenstrual, PMS, premenstrual syndrome. So if you're on the female mix and you're finding it's helping, like most people do, or it helps to an amazing extent, you may want to take more of a dose. At this time is when women will often increase it to 10 mils or 15 mils. Standard dose is 10 mils, often go to 15 mils. There's other things you can do. Fenugreek is an amazing herb for women. In fact, women have used the seeds to make their breasts bigger. In fact, if women aren't lactating well, they give them fenugreek. And in fact, the fenugreek is already in the female mix, and a lot of women say they have these profound body changes. Their hips change shape, their breasts get fuller. I've seen it more than dozens of times. Very, very common. Women take female mix religiously. In fact, if there's one thing with every medicine has normally a 3-week turnaround time that you're going to take religiously, this would be it. Now, always couple it with, remember, death begins in the colon. You always couple it with a detox. If women have ovary problems, it's generally more common if you do iridology, where we look in people's eyes. We tend to see that people's right ovaries tend to have more problems than the left more commonly. There's been a huge thing speculated in the field of iridology why that is. It could be because the ascending colon's sitting on the right side. It could be because the small intestine exits. So I'm not going to go in and speculate and make big claims, but certainly you want to make sure your colon's clean. If you're having any sort of reproductive problems, you certainly make sure you've got an intestinal cleanse and detox. that's ongoing, or get yourself clean, get yourself on some maintenance powder. And the other thing, the third product, couple it with something that has 10 or 11 herbs in high dosages that just feed your body. Could be a liver mix, a respiratory mix, to a less extent a kidney mix. The liver and respiratory will probably be the most important too. And I'm confident that you'll begin to feel an amazing difference in your body.